Well, now let's start with the news. And government has released some 855 million cedis to settle arrears owed to cocoa farmers following the recent payment crisis that left many producers unpaid for months despite delivering their produce to buying companies. Now, in the wake of the crisis, government has announced a sweeping package of reforms aimed at stabilizing and restructuring the cocoa sector, including a controversial reduction of more than 1,000 cedis in the producer price per bag. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, Chairman of the Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, defended the measures, insisting they are necessary to restore financial stability and place COCOBOD back on a sustainable path. There's more in the following report.
The controversy about the cocoa payment crisis will not go away. It is still a big conversation in Parliament, with the majority now speaking out in defense of their government against a tirade of accusations that has come from the NPP side, the minority. Now, the majority say government is releasing nearly $1 billion Ghana cedi to offset some of the arrears that have come up so far, but assuring farmers that this is not a problem caused by the NDC, but the government is up to the task and is fixing the problem. Isaac Adongo is chairman of the Finance Committee in Parliament.
We have heard a lot of comments from our colleagues, and they have tended all of a sudden to pretend as though they are the people who love the people of Ghana, when Ghanaians were very clear that they were enemies of Ghana and didn't want them near the Flagstaff House anymore. The bottom line of all that has happened is that some amounts were owed to cocoa farmers, and the government took a decision to repay those monies so that the cocoa buying companies can settle those outstanding obligations. I'm happy to report to you that this morning the government has released 855 million for the purposes of paying those outstanding obligations.
Again, Isaac Adongo insists that cocoa farmers are better off than they were under the NPP administration, and that the NDC is actually fixing the problems that have been caused by the NPP.
COCOBOD entered 2025 with roughly 17.8 billion in loans, plus significant operational liabilities. So loans alone was about 17.8 billion by the beginning of 2025. And if you add this to other obligations, you will soon come to realize that at this point, COCOBOD was bleeding with an exposure of over 60 billion Ghana cedis. Certainly, that vehicle could not be sustainable and needed to be addressed.
Here in Parliament, you would think that this matter will just go away. Isaac Adongo insists that the NPP functionaries, including their members of Parliament, should actually be lashed by cocoa farmers for taking this position, despite he accusing them of being the cause of the problem.
When COCOBOD had 286,000 bales of jute sacks sitting at the port, they only went and cleared 91,000 of them and left the rest at the port. Meanwhile, they also had 75,000 bales of jute sacks. So add that to what is in the port. They had enough to last them another 3-4 years. But just a few days before they left office, they went and contracted and paid 48 million to bring in 80,000 bales of jute sacks. These are reckless people. If it was possible in the days that we were shipping people, these are people that we have to line up and tell cocoa farmers, it is the conduct of these people that denied the government of Ghana the resources to properly take care of you at this point in time. So that we'll give everybody a cane. Cocoa farmers will ship you in tow. Then we will know who is at fault.
With nearly $1 billion Ghana cedi now being released to pay these debts, the minority continue to insist that despite this problem having been dealt with, they insist that government should revert to more than 3,600 Ghana cedis that it used to pay cocoa farmers. Reporting for JoyNews, Kuku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Meanwhile, hundreds of cocoa farmers across Sefi and other major cocoa growing districts have staged protests against the NDC government following the mid-season cut in cocoa prices, slashing their incomes by nearly 30%. Demonstrations were reported in Sefi, Rialso, Bekwai, Sunafo and Amenfi, with farmers warning the cut threatens their livelihoods. Here is the leader of the group.
Especially petition by cocoa farmers in Western North region to the Chief Executive Officer of COCOBOD, to the Regional Manager COCOBOD Western North. We, the cocoa farmers of Western North region, gathered today at Sefi, respectfully submit this petition to the Chief Executive Officer of COCOBOD, to the Regional Manager. We are law-abiding citizens and hard-working farmers who contribute significantly to Ghana's economy. Cocoa remains the backbone of our region and a major source of foreign exchange for the nation. It is therefore with deep concern and heavy hearts that we register our displeasure that the recent reduction in the producer price of cocoa is woefully inadequate and a bad example and precedent to start with. Our concerns: reduction in cocoa price, the downward adjustment of cocoa.
Now, receiving the petition on behalf of COCOBOD, the Western Regional Administrator of COCOBOD, Enoch Ampofo, said the concerns of the farmers will be attended to.
The farmer welfare is at the heart of every decision that the management takes. Behind the more management, Sabi, any farmer, the year you see. We thought that Biba, Nasa, and Ronodi,
COCOBOD management always puts farmers' interests first. COCOBOD is implementing a turnaround strategy that will deliver results. We ask for your patience as we work to resolve these issues. Many of us are cocoa farmers ourselves, so we deeply understand and share in your concerns.
Industry no akomuno yenim se enche biara ye be free eno nti yesre nana ene ne nkofo dina se abotere ena ye nie free no ho se wo munya abotere na wo boma emre kakra yenim se anya hwe no ye be free ese hu se ye nyina asoso ye kuko farmers ni enti bibia ni ayen soso yete.
Now, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyemang, is urging Ghanaian women to refuse being belittled and intimidated simply because they are women. Speaking at the first annual National Forum on Women in Government and Media at the Jubilee House, she emphasized that stories about women should not focus solely on superficial issues like appearance at the expense of highlighting their intelligence and competence.
Musician Ifia thrilling the crowd at the maiden edition of the annual National Forum on Women in Government and Media. The event was held under the theme Leadership, Visibility, Public Trust. The high-level gathering brought together distinguished women leaders, policymakers, and media professionals from across the country to promote strategic collaborations. There were speeches, networking sessions, interactive dialogues, and more. Leader of the Women's Caucus in Parliament, Comfort Doyo Kujuganza, called for more female representation in Parliament.
Out of 276 members of Parliament, we have 41 female representation, which is relatively small as compared to that of the male representation. There is the need to fight for protection of the few women in governance and advocate for the increase in number of female representation, especially in Parliament. Our Vice President is the head of the economic management team. And how do we see it from '92? When she was nominated as the Vice President, the argument was she's an English student and the other one is economic student. But let's see the difference. Which one has performed better?
Chief of Staff Julius Debra called for more collaboration between women in media and women in government.
Remember when His Excellency the President nominated Professor Nana, we all said she's broken what? The glass ceiling. Very outstanding. But you know the part that I loved so much? When Prof. Nana herself said, well, you've opened the door for me to walk through, but I don't want to be selfish. I'm going to stand by the latch, open the door for many other women to walk through. And I think that is what she started today. The objective of bringing you here is not just to come and listen to a series of talks, but to try and network, make some good friends, collaborate as we progress, because that's what the President wants to see.
The Vice President, Professor Jenano Pukwajuman, urged Ghanaian women to refuse being belittled and intimidated simply because they are women. She urged Ghanaian women to reshape the concept of power.
We must refuse to be belittled. We must refuse to be intimidated. We must refuse to be shaped in other people's images. We must have faith in ourselves. We must refuse for anyone to talk us down. Simply because we are women. We are proud of being women. Women journalists and editors carry a particular responsibility, not because women are morally superior, but because your presence changes perspective.
Now, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has saved the country more than 85 million Ghana cedis after intercepting and securing 12 articulated trucks carrying 44,105 packages of edible cooking oil, tomato paste and spaghetti. Checks indicate that 18 trucks were automatically gated out of the system, yet only 12 were physically intercepted. Investigations are underway to determine the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of the remaining 6 trucks, as well as any possible collusion. Fatao Bayaga has more in the following report.
The trucks bearing registration number plate from Togo, Ghana and Niger were declared as transit goods from Akanu and destined for Niger through Kolongogo. However, they were moving without the required customs human escort, a major breach of transit procedures according to the GRA. Speaking to the media after visiting the Tema port to assess the situation, Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyakon Ampem said, but for the timely interception by the task force, the nation would have lost millions of cedis.
Initial assessment of this by customs indicated that it was worth about 2.6 million in taxes. But when they did reassessment, they have realized that the actual value of the taxes that is due the state is over 85 million Ghana cedis. And so this is a huge revenue leakage to the state.
He has therefore given the GRA a one-week ultimatum to investigate the development, particularly the disappearance of 6 trucks.
I've asked Commissioner General to conclude investigations within 1 week. We are told that 2 customs officials were expected to accompany, to escort these goods that were purported to go all the way to Niger. Unfortunately, they were not. We will want to find out why.
The Commissioner General of the GRA, Anthony Kwesi Sapon, also expressed concern over the development and assured that the matter would be thoroughly investigated within the stipulated 1-week period.
As the Honorable Minister has directed, we will carry out the investigations within the week. And once we determine the full measure of this action, we want to assure that the first instance we will do is that if these goods, as we have intercepted today, are found not to have been properly documented, we will apply the law of confiscation.
He further warned business operators to desist from engaging in activities that deny the state much-needed revenue.
We want to sound a caution to all businesses and traders that they should voluntarily carry out their businesses in a compliant manner and will support them as partners in national development. However, businesses that try to do activities or carry out their businesses in a manner that will try to usurp the right of the state and deny the state of the needed revenue, the strong arm of the law that we are mandated to do as we are experiencing or seeing today will stretch it.
Authorities say the outcome of the investigations will determine the next line of action, including possible sanctions against persons found culpable. For JoyNews, Fatah Bayaga, Accra.
Now, the Municipal Chief Executive for Infantiman, Stanley Eric Aqua, has assured management and staff of the Salt Pond Municipal Hospital of urgent intervention to address the facility's pressing challenges. During a visit to the hospital, concerns were raised over dilapidated units, inadequate staffing, security threats, and the lack of staff accommodation. In response, the MCE pledged to collaborate with relevant stakeholders to improve conditions at the facility and strengthen healthcare service delivery in the municipality.
The Municipal Assembly, under the guide of the MCA, is one of our biggest stakeholders. Whatever support they have, our doors are open.
For more than a decade since receiving a facelift, the Salt Pond Municipal Hospital, Ghana's second oldest hospital, is grappling with deteriorating infrastructure and operational challenges that threaten quality healthcare delivery. The hospital's medical superintendent, Dr. John Moses Reko, highlighted some of the challenges and appealed for urgent support.
Even though we get some help, but it's not enough. So, first of all, the environment, the structure, the equipment, the main heavy equipment that a basic hospital or a district hospital needs is a problem. Currently, as we speak, our mortuary has been temporarily closed down because the structure and the environment is really, an eyesore. So we're calling on stakeholders, the government, and everybody concerned to come to our aid. To help us address some of these issues. We, as management, we are poised, motivated to really work, and we are doing it gradually. But it's also, our IGF is not enough to meet all these conditions as well. Even our vehicle, we don't have a vehicle now. Our vehicle is overaged and it's in a red zone and keep on breaking down. Anytime we even travel or 1 kilometer, it's not safe at all for staff and a driver. So it's a big challenge for us right now.
During a visit to the hospital, the Municipal Chief Executive of Infantiman, Stanley Eric Aqua, assured management and staff that immediate steps will be taken to address the pressing challenges.
Yeah, there are immediate, and those ones that call for immediate actions will be addressed without delay. And so moving out of this place, I'm going to invite the works engineer to come around, do assessment of the places that call for maybe renovations and other places. We tackle those ones, we work on them fast, and then probably we move into those ones that will call for maybe discussions, collaborations, and other things.
He indicated that he will collaborate with the area's Member of Parliament to mobilize the necessary support and interventions to improve conditions at the hospital.
I'm going to reason with my MP. The MP happens to be a health committee member in Parliament, and so he has, anything that relates to health at heart, and he has much more experience in matters that body on health. And so I'm believing moving out of this place, when I invite him to these discussions, is going to be of help as far as finding solutions to the problems that confront Salt Pond Hospital is concerned.
From Salt Pond, Abigail Lissel and Nkrumah reports for JoyNews.
Well, let's bring some business update now, and let's start with the currency market. Well, to our first story now, a state pension trust net has indicated it will head to the courts to ensure employers honor contributions of their workers. The move is part of a broader strategy to improve compliance by more than 90% to help save the scheme. Reacting to the development, Executive Director for African Center for Retirement Research, Abdullah Mashoud, said the decision will strengthen compliance. He spoke to Joy Business.
It's clearly provided in the Act in the event that anybody violates the provision of the Act with regards to payment of contributions and all that. We have a provision in the Act that strengthens or that gives me the power to, to take it to court. So it's clearly that has been provided in the Act. I've also heard the Director General indicating that government has made good all its obligations. It is exciting to hear that government has made good all its obligations. For government is the biggest employer and has fulfilled all its contribution payment obligation to the trust. On that note, I think we have to commend the government and the Board of Trustees for ensuring strict compliance to the contribution payment provision of Act 766. Remember, it is important to note that delayed contribution payments by past governments have been cited in actuarial valuation reports as one of the factors that hurt the financial stability of the SNP scheme. We saw that particular finding in the 2014 valuation report. We saw it in 2017. We also saw it in the 2020 valuation report. And so no doubt, the payment of contribution will surely improve the trust investment function, its liquidity position, and ultimately the actuarial status of the scheme.
Now, the producer price inflation for January 2026 has declined marginally to 1.6 from 1.9% recorded in December 2025. This represents a 0.3 percentage point drop. The following report has more.
The data published by the Ghana Statistical Service on February 18, 2026 showed that on a year-on-year basis, the ex-factory prices of goods and services increased by 1.6% between January 2025 and January 2026. The rate also showed 26.9 percentage points lower than the 28.5% recorded in January 2025. This shows a significant easing in producer price pressures over the past year. On a month-on-month basis, producer prices rose sharply by 3.3% in January 2026 compared to a contraction of 0.8% in December 2025, pointing to renewed short-term price momentum. Mining and quarrying, which carries the largest weight of 43.7% in the PPI basket, recorded a year-on-year inflation rate of 3.7% in January 2026, up from 3.3% in December 2025, representing a 0.4 percentage point increase.
Well, that's all for business. Up next is sports. Please do stay with us.